I drive my car up to the lake as if there's someone to awake. I haven't been to bed for days, I live in a twilight haze. And I set my heart to the setting sun, and I hope that no one else has done it. And the drinks are never far, open up the bar. I miss you every single day. I wait until it's not your way. I hate the way I'm straying.
I'm trying to juggle quite a few things now, which is good. But yeah, it's kind of hard to get all of them juggling in the air. At once.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah,
they drop out occasionally.
Well, and people's lifestyle these days, things are sort of changing all the time, and people are so busy and short-staffed, and
yeah, that's been hitting you a little bit lately, eh?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Jeremy, welcome to the podcast. This is so I've known you for a couple of years actually, through Sammy Bags and probably even just through maybe popping in here occasionally.
Yep.
And you work for Switch Espresso, which is a pretty well-known brand, certainly around the South Island. Have you expanded into the North Island at all?
No, we've always sort of had the plans never to, not that we don't want to, we just feel we can't service the North Island as well as we can the South Island, being based here, looking after our current partners and family of cafes that we supply. So it was just a bit of a logistical nightmare, we feel, for us and for how we roll. So
yeah, totally. Because if you're keeping it closer to home, you've got to, you can keep your fingers on the pulse and you can maintain your quality and stuff like that. So you won't be going to China anytime soon?
No, definitely not. Although we do get many emails from all parts of the world. But, I guess in saying that we do supply sort of one far-flung place, and that is Antarctica. So we've been supplying Antarctica in New Zealand.
Scott Base.
Scott Base.
Yeah.
For over 10 years now. So it's pretty cool, looking after them.
Is there anything special you have to do as far as the coffee beans or the packaging?
No. It gets shipped down there. I think at some time along the process it does get frozen, which does not great for the quality, but at least they are getting coffee and good coffee. So it's been great. Yeah,
and in actual fact, you're the first coffee person I've had on this podcast, and which is
in a cafe.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the Espresso Bar podcast, but I've never actually talked to anyone about coffee, which is pretty.
Well, I guess sometimes it can be a bit of a contentious thing to talk about. Which
I suppose so.
Which it shouldn't be.
No, exactly. Well, we so like everyone knows, different cafes have different suppliers. Yep. We use Rich coffee. That I don't even know if I've mentioned it on the podcast or not, but we use Rich from Wellington. Cameron and Richie. It's a real small little business.
Coffee. Yep.
Yeah, and often you feel that you can't talk to anyone else, which is ridiculous because coffee is about community and about discussion and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's been a few.
Together.
I think there have been a few events around roasting, especially where the roasteries will kind of sort of down tools and all hang out together and have little tastings and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's really here in Christchurch. It's a growing thing. And we've tried to push that, and lots of us local roasters have got together for various things, even non coffee things. It's been really, really good. It's been a real friendly vibe.
Now, when did Switch come into being?
Yeah, back in 2006, before I joined the company. Hamish started it. Hamish Evans back in New Brighton. So started out there, started roasting, had a small cafe serving the local market there, and then has slowly, moved a couple of times. He opened Black Betty and Bunsen, and so
awesome.
Along quite a while ago now. So
so that was all pre-earthquake.
Yep. He's been through all the earthquakes,
Yeah.
all the dramas with. I think they, but before I joined in there, they moved the roaster 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times.
Wow.
So they've been through a lot, but
Yep.
we're still here. So
They're not light to be shifting them around.
no.
What a hassle.
No, it's not easy.
I remember hearing about a bakery moving in the dead of night. They worked it out in the weekend, they just shifted this entire bakery across, and they needed to keep up all their orders and stuff going. That wouldn't be easy either.
No.
Presumably the ovens were practically still hot while they were shifting them.
The roaster was cold. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and how to Switch differentiate themselves? What's their unique kind of point of difference and stuff?
And how to Switch differentiate. Check it out.
Oh.
That's Siri just chipping in. Probably telling me.
Was that an Irish Siri? It sounded a bit.
It is.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just have any old ordinary Siri for me, thank you very much.
Too right. No. St. Patrick's Day.
I think maybe that accounts for some of the for the incorrect eavesdropping that she does on me.
Yeah.
What was the question? So point of difference. What's Switch's unique kind of thing?
Yeah, unique. I guess I guess really the real only main uniqueness is we're here in Christchurch. We're local. We're independent. We're not owned by someone else. We're not dictated. So we point of difference. I guess it's the quality of the coffee that we're purchasing. We feel that's a little bit different to most people. Service, consistency of coffee, our systems and things like that, and also the effort we put into training. I think we sort of go above and beyond in terms of where we do that. But there are lots of other good roasters out there doing kind of what we're doing too. But that group is limited now, and it's ever so smallly sort of dying away there a bit. There are a lot of big coffee companies out there now.
Yeah, totally. That's a massive point of difference.
Say. Yeah.
Well, I know because I live down New Brighton way, and Switch is a really good brand down there, and you're going to get a really great coffee. It's good service. It's just really good. But the main thing is, you're going to get a really good coffee, and then the cafe is kind of cool as well, but it's definitely mainly the good coffee.
Yeah, it's a simple formula, isn't it? Offer a great product, good service, friendly service, great food.
And there's a good sense of community down there as well.
Brighton's got it's a great spot.
Yeah, it is.
And Switch's roots are definitely still there, and we're very connected to that part of town too. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That independence is also super helpful as far as quality and...
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, and the training is massively important because, as you know, all of the variables, from getting the green, from purchasing the coffee to it being grown, basically all the way through to the person drinking the coffee, all the variables in between can be a bit of a nightmare to control.
Oh,
massively. But the barista is one of them. The machinery that the barista uses is another. And then everything that you guys do, like the purchasing of the beans, the quality control, the roasting, the delivery, the everything. Yeah.
It is hard, and we've got to always think about all of those steps and making sure we get every step right. Because at the end of the day, once that coffee's been served, we end up getting sort of the blame for it.
It's your reputation on the line.
The way the customer was expecting or has tasted before. We need to make sure that the coffee's great. It is the last harvest. We already have cupped it before it's come in. We're then making sure and cupping it again when it does come in to make sure that it is the right quality that we've purchased. Then we're looking at the roast profile and looking at where we can get that right. Then we're looking at the aging process, obviously, making sure that that's right before the customer gets it. Then making sure the customer gets it and uses it within about a week. And turns through that coffee. So we've got to sort of guess each week what people will we actually going through?
Yeah. And
then the training, like you say,
Yeah.
the equipment and the
Yep.
servicing and there's a lot of things that we need to make sure are going right just for that cup of coffee.
Yeah, yeah. And ultimately, even then, it's there's the customer who is drinking it, it's a relatively subjective experience. Like taste
Very
is
much.
not something that
It's like music.
everyone can
Like
agree on.
art. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Which is great. That's
yeah.
why coffee's awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's a lot of room for humour in that as well. Because I've worked in the coffee industry a long time, and I love some of the things that customers say, which they're trying to be polite. And, what I say is, look, sometimes, there might be X number of coffees that I make a day that aren't going to be perhaps spot on.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
the customer's perfectly within their right to come back and say, hey, look, that one's a bit off. Can you just make it again? I'm more than happy to do that. But I love it when they say things like, have you changed the beans recently? Those kind of passive-aggressive kind of ones, they're classic. It's just like, no? What the hell are you talking about? What's the problem? Tell me.
And the beans are actually always changing anyway.
Well,
the
that's
customer
true.
actually worked out what's going on in terms of each harvest. And
Yeah, that's right. It's an agricultural crop. In the same way that you go to the supermarket and you're buying oranges
it's
or
seasonal blend, isn't it? All the
that's
time.
right. I mean, one week the oranges might be like looking and tasting like this,
Yep.
and then coffee is sort of no more or no less agricultural than any other kind of produce.
Like wine,
Yeah.
there's certain wineries
Yeah.
where their wines aren't as good as they have been previous years.
When I was a coffee rep, actually, we had a couple of customers that have been long-time customers when I was working for Vivace, and it amazed me when they could tell as well. They would say, have you done something to the blend? And I'd be like, I was kind of a bit younger, and I'd just be like, nah, it's the same. It's always been the same. And then I'd go back to work and I'd perhaps question the roaster or something like that, and he'd be, yeah, we had to switch out this bean for this one, and blah, 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 blah. But it's just crazy that some people, man, they have such an intimate knowledge of your coffee.
Well, and COVID made that even harder. Just to be able to
Yeah.
get that consistent supply of green beans. And
Yeah.
then Brazil had lots of issues with all sorts of problems, from weather to the market to the shipping. And that was a bit of a nightmare too, really.
To switch buy most of their coffee from Brazil?
No, we get it from all over.
Yeah.
Brazil, Colombia, African coffees, Indonesia.
So just remind me, what kind of governs the New Zealand coffee scene when you're buying green beans? From memory, when I was working on the wholesale side of things, there was about 3 companies that kind of imported green beans, and most of the coffee companies bought off of those 3 companies. I can't even remember who they were. Maybe Burton. Three beans.
Three brothers.
Oh, 3 brothers.
Yeah.
And something else. I don't know.
Yeah, now that whole it's quite an interesting question actually, because now you are right. Sort of back in the early 2000s and the sort of even back to the 90s, there was John Burton. He was the biggest player. Trade Aid were bringing in
that's right,
quite a bit too.
Yep.
But now there's lots of other companies out there: CoffeeNet, Opal, Sukafina, Langdon's.
Okay. I've heard of CoffeeNet and Opal. Yep.
3 brothers. Not sure if they're still going, but
I see.
Yeah, but so the market's opened up, so there is a lot more choice there now too, which is great for all the roasters.
Exactly.
Great for the farmers too.
Yeah.
Because there's hopefully more coffee being traded. So
yeah. That's cool. But nevertheless, COVID put a spanner in the works. Internationally for everything, pretty much.
Every industry, But coffee, we definitely noticed that. But
And how about your actual customers on the ground, the cafe owners? Did you see many of them kind of drop away? Like, did many need to close up, or?
Not too many. A lot were riding that sort of that high wire sort of risk. It was a risky time. Not too many. I think maybe one closed, and a few were already maybe not doing too well before COVID.
Yes.
We're still slightly saturated out there.
Yeah, you're right.
But New Zealand's kind of always been like that, though.
Totally.
Yeah.
And in the last 10 years, we've seen a coffee shop in every service station,
everywhere.
supermarket, bloody hairdressers.
It'll be sushi places next, won't it?
Yeah. We certainly love our coffee, but it is intense, the saturation of it. It's full on.
Yeah.
Are there any trends out there that are kind of setting cafes apart from others? Like, what cafes do you see doing well?
It's cafes that I think staffing's probably the biggest problem out there at the moment, and that affects the way a cafe owner wants to look after their actual customers. Sorry, what was the question again?
Oh, just whether there were any trends, what were kind of setting the cafes apart that were doing well? Like, sometimes you can sort of see a wee bit of not a formula, but maybe a theme.
Yeah. Ones that are working closely with their roaster. Ones that are sort of looking at not just the espresso side of it, but sort of venturing into the,
soft brews,
single origin soft brews. More and more with a mocha master or some type of drip filter. That's what I'm kind of seeing here in Christchurch and around the South Island. Is you're seeing a lot of that already up in Auckland and over in Australia a lot, but there's more and more here, not just offering the one style of coffee, the one brew method.
Yeah.
We had that though quite a while ago when there was that trend of V60s and siphons and all
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
But just being a bit more transparent on their coffee.
Yeah.
Just going above and beyond with coffee rather than just offering a long black. I guess that's
exactly
what stands those players out.
People certainly love filter coffee. It is, and with the beans, the quality of the beans.
It's getting better and better.
It's something that I love to offer customers that are getting long blacks or Americanos, like, while you're waiting, do you want to try this filter we've got on?
Yeah.
It's a little Colombian or whatever, Ethiopian.
Well, it's a good way to,
I'm surprised
to buy some coffee for home too.
Yeah.
You might be having a nice Colombian single origin that you poured out and say, I've got a little bag here of it, 20 grams.
I'm still surprised how unfamiliar a lot of people are with filter coffee and the idea, because invariably they go, wow, this is kind of like tea or, something completely different that they're not used to. So,
well, with some of the processes now and some of the wild coffees out there, some of the brews that you can that you're tasting now are just amazing. They're like wine. They're like port. They're like a fruity cocktail.
Yeah. It's incredible. I love getting our filter from Rich and just smelling it to begin with. Especially when you open the tin first thing in the morning, and man, sometimes it's just like berries coming out of the flipping tin.
Yeah, and each day it's changing too.
Oh, wicked. Well, that's cool. And the other things that are kind of affecting everyone around the world as a consequence of COVID is the inflation, and coffee prices is something that kind of hits the media occasionally. In New Zealand, we tend to, perhaps we don't use the Big Mac as a mark of how well the country's doing, but we talk about the price of a flat white.
All the time, constantly.
And my perception, could be wrong, correct me, is that over time it hasn't kind of kept up with inflation, and the various, like the roaster and the cafe owner have absorbed a lot of those costs.
For a long time.
I suppose it's a not an expensive item in the first place, so it's probably just going to fractionally go up anyway. But where do you think we're at on April the 1st, we've got the minimum wage going up.
Yep.
And I'm certainly thinking, right, is this the opportunity to lift the prices of my coffees? I think I've already done it once since COVID. And, you know, as everyone knows, you know, when you go to the supermarket and you're purchasing things, like everything's
gone up.
freaking more expensive.
Very much, yeah.
And it's not so much, often coffee, is it fair to say that the most expensive thing is the wages when you're making a cup of coffee? Do you reckon? Or maybe not.
Yeah, it's up there. You know, product's still quite a bit, but it depends on the model of the cafe too.
And how many you're churning out now.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say the majority of small cafes, then and that keeps going up.
Yeah,
as
that's
well
right.
as the cost of the product, of the beans, of the milk, of the cups and lids, of the you know the cost of washing the cup.
Cost electricity.
Of the dishwasher, cost of servicing the dishwasher. You know, power, Wi-Fi, till FPOS, everything goes up. Council taxes. So it's not easy, and I think the majority, and we've pushed it, and I know other roasters have, and the Specialty Coffee Association has too, where we've tried to say to cafes to not be afraid to, you know, keep putting your price up where you need to, because you're offering a boutique product from a skilled person, a barista that's trained to make, you know, great coffee, a roaster that's put all that effort into it. It is worth the price. They're very happy to go and buy a beer or a glass of wine and pay a little bit extra for good service and good product. But it seems to be when it comes to coffee, there is a bit of a backlash when people do put their prices up. Even by 20 cents, people can get really uptight. And I do get it, because the cost of living is hitting everyone out there. But you know, cafe owners need to survive in this pretty tough market.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
I think that's what it comes down to.
Really hard out.
Yeah, it is survival. And the other thing that I do quite often is just, communicate with people and communicate the reasons why and the costs associated with things. Because sometimes that can go, the customers might be, just ignorant about certain aspects of owning a cafe. You know, I'm sure there's people that still think, wow, that's a gold mine you're sitting on or something like that. And it's just like...
all the time.
It's like, hang on a minute.
There's those naive people who think, oh, I'll just make up a product at home, soap or something like that. Oh, just go make a stall, mate. Just take it to the market. And you make a bomb. They've got no idea about what a market's like and all that sort of stuff.
No. And it's you see that all the time. And you've seen that the whole time that I've been in the coffee industry. It's they think you're kind of rorting it a bit.
I know, right?
But if they only knew the truth. But you know, that's getting out there. Social media helps that.
Totally.
And I think as an industry, we're trying to get that message out there. You know, because
I had a wee thing on Instagram the other day where I just took a photograph of my pay wave charges. Because that's something which people aren't aware of. And it's not, there's like the flat fee, and then there's the percentage on top of that, depending on what type of card is being used. And we quite often have people with, corporate accounts, and they're paying with a commercial card. And that's so there's almost like and I think it must vary between banks, and depending on how big you are and stuff, maybe you can negotiate a better deal. But we're like on a flat fee of 2.85, and then anything, and then the card, depending on the type of card, it will be an extra 0.2 on top of that, and it can go up as much as a corporate one, I think, is an extra 2% on top of that. So, the margins in hospo aren't great.
No,
And
that's
if you're
like-
having to pay 5% just on a transaction,
Yeah.
And the fact
It's
that
insane.
transaction
Yeah.
fee is a percentage,
Yeah.
God, that's
Yeah.
outrageous,
Yeah,
mate.
it's tough.
That is so outrageous.
Very hard. Yeah.
yeah. So if you're getting, and we
I
had,
thought they looked at tweaking or some changes.
They
in
do.
that, didn't they?
They're always looking at
Separate
Jeremy.
banks, but it's
so nice
all
that they
talk,
look at
isn't
it.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, yeah.
we're concerned. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great.
I love it when
Yeah.
they're concerned. It makes me feel real
Means
good.
nothing.
Whew,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, they
Well,
do.
They're
It's one of those
concerned that their game's going to be busted.
Yeah,
That's what they're
exactly.
concerned
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah,
too
we're
right.
concerned at the moment.
Yeah, but it's super interesting. So we now do the surcharge on the old FPOS machine,
Yep.
and it's not 100% of what we're having to pay for those services, but
It at least
it's about
contributes to that.
Yeah,
loss,
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yep.
You know?
it can be as much as sort of 90% or as little as sort of 50%. I think generally, depending on the customer.
And when that customer sees that, have you had many that have? Oh God.
It's occasionally, but most people,
Get it.
it's an educational thing, and
Yeah.
it's an opportunity to be able to talk to people and tell them about it. But it's becoming way more common. I would encourage, any small operators to do it, because, I mean, we're constantly fearing that we're going to lose our customer for one reason or another.
Yep.
And I think we forget that, if we make changes, if we do put the prices up, okay, maybe there's one or two customers we might lose, but generally speaking, most people will understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always the outliers. And in actual fact, you don't want customers that aren't going to, you want the customers that want what you're offering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
There's always a certain amount of customers that are getting turned over and sort of move away and
That's
not come
right.
back, and then
Yeah.
you have your mainstays.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they come here for a bit of a chat and hanging out.
Which is hospitality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
That is the whole game, isn't it?
which
Yeah.
is hugely important.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so there's still kind of potential. It's sort of the hospital industry. It makes me I love kind of thinking about how it's going to be in the future. Hopefully there's more of this. Hopefully there's more crazy like podcasts. There's cafes doing different things.
Yeah.
Which we're looking for new ways. Like we see Pilgrim now as a platform to do something else, which is how often roasteries start up, correct?
Yep. Yep.
There's a cafe, the guy's like, man, I love coffee, I'm going to start roasting it. They
Yeah.
chuck a roaster in the corner,
Yep.
and before long, the cafe's the sideline, the roasting's the main gig.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite often the case. Yeah.
So,
Lots of roasters have started out like that. Lots of roasters have started out in a garage, in a shed, and 5 to 10 years later they're smashing it. It's great to see when you see that, and most roasters have started from pretty humble startings. So.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So tell me a couple of your favourite customers around the South Island that you guys supply.
Oh well, they're all great. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
there aren't any special ones, but look, there's quite a few sort of, I guess, foundation partners.
Yeah.
Customers. One would be Opawa
Yep.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Detlev and Brigitte. We've been supplying them for probably nearly 14, 15 years now.
Wow,
Long
cool.
time.
Yep.
And they're just your great classic Kiwi cafe in a suburb. Great hospitality. Unique little German bakery bits and pieces, and it's just friendly hospitality, great staff, clean. And they've been doing great for a long, long time. They would be someone that I would point out. But all our customers up from Kaikoura to Te Anau, Arrowtown, Wanaka, Ritual Espresso, Postmasters, Flow & Co. and Kaikoura, Hello Sunday here in Christchurch. There's so many great cafes.
Exactly, yeah.
New Brighton, Switch,
And you get to travel around most of those areas yourself, or you kind of split it up amongst the team?
We do split it up. Sort of the techie side of it, they look after things, and then training wise, our trainer gets out and about a bit. But I do get around there and look after them and keep up with their needs, and
Do you enjoy that part of the job?
I love that part. Yeah. Just it's good to see a cafe owner grow, especially when you have a new customer, new cafe. You're sort of unsure on how things are going to go, because 9 times out of 10 it's not what it's cracked up to be. Just because it's such a hard game. But those ones that are successful, it's really great to see them flourish and grow, and to just see regular staff. That's been something that I've noticed post-COVID, where before COVID you always had sort of core teams that stayed together, and now post-COVID I'm seeing a lot of turnover of places, so I guess you're not seeing regular faces all the time. And that's something that great places always had, is regular staff that know their customers. And with this turnover of staff, it's I guess some places lose a bit of that friendly vibe just because they've got such fresh people in there.
Totally. We're fortunate. I mean, in our customers and our staff and the interactions we've managed to have out of that. But the central city's a funny one. I mean, obviously a lot of people are working from home, so we get people sometimes 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days we don't see them. And that's cool. They're going to a cafe out in the suburbs somewhere, out in the burbs. But it is interesting. There's still customers that come in and say, I think there is a difference between the chains and the independently owned places. Some people kind of turn up and they're like, I went to such and such for a while, and for a month, and they never knew my name. They never knew what I drank. They never got my order right.
Never got your order right.
Or perhaps not never got the order right, but never knew it in advance and said, hey, you want your regular, right? Just the regular. And
there are a lot of those big chains still opening up. So, Wild Beans, they're doing great. They're absolutely smashing it.
That's right. There was a
still very, very popular
article the other day about those bigger chains, the black and whites and stuff.
Black and white. They've just opened some more.
I used to. I'm not drinking coffee at the moment, but I used to love going to the BP, and man, they made good coffees. It's like, was that Wild Bean? Was it Wild Bean?
Right,
that was good. Yep.
They do all right pies as well.
Do they?
Hey,
peppered steak.
Hey, so as far as those big chains go, I can see Suri's starting to listen to me again. What's the deal? Like, who owns what? In New Zealand, once again, back in the day...
It's hard to keep up with, actually.
There was Cerebos Greggs that owned a sort of a little bunch of brands. I don't know who they were now, but there was that Lafare, and then there's JDE, which is Jacob Dale Egberts. Those are two sort of international kind of sized.
JDE, Hummingbird they own, and then obviously Cerebus got bought out by, I can't remember what was it, Brew Group or something.
Oh, that's right.
Someone else bought Brew Group.
Yes.
And I think now, I can't remember, is it Suntory?
Oh yes, it could be. A holding company, a Japanese.
Lafare, Atomic or something. And,
yes.
So there's quite a few of those good big brands are now under those international umbrellas.
Do you think it affects them? Like, how does that kind of play out?
I think different roasters have done it in a slightly different way, and some have been successful in sort of keeping their image and quality going, and some have sort of gone down a different route. Without naming any. So
Yeah, well, I heard recently...
It's that fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a couple of small local roasters that have been bought, Prima and Vivace by Mojo, and they're open about it. They're like, referring to each other as, the sister roastery and stuff. And I was like, hang on a second.
Yeah, it happened very, very quick.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, that they were made an offer that they couldn't refuse type of thing.
Which one?
Well, I don't know. Just small family or small sort of independently owned roasteries, and a larger business coming along and say, hey, we're going to kind of aggregate this group of businesses together, and we're going around buying these up, and we're going to have more purchasing power or more resilience in the future, and blah blah blah. Do you want to be a part of this? We'll give you, this amount of money, and you can have X amount of shares in the overall business. It happens in other professions and industries.
Yeah, it's a normal sort of...
it's a normal practice. I'm not saying it's right or wrong,
gets to a certain time in their life, they're thinking,
that's right.
I've worked hard for this. I'm going to sell and move on. And most of them have done it really well. When All Press bought Underground, I thought they did that really well, and they've kept that going well. And then Asahi came in, bought All Press and Underground. It's not too bad.
Exactly. Yeah,
I think Asahi brought the Charlie's Juice Company as well.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because Mojo started out buying. They bought 830 up and
on. Oh yeah.
So that was the first one in their row of buying.
Because they were a real hard-out boutique company, weren't they?
And they're still doing well, and you haven't really noticed much. I think things may have even improved with what they're doing. So, and maybe with Prima, Vivace being acquisitioned up now, that same with them, they might just do great from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? But I don't think they'll be stopping there though either. I think there'll be more to come.
Do you reckon there's a taste? Do you reckon there's a sorry, when you mentioned, what is it, 830? Yeah. Do you reckon there's a, because they were quite, they were a lot more kind of acidic kind of style of brew, and that kind of...
Definitely specialty coffee focused.
There's kind of, is it fair to say there's a taste difference between the North and South Islands and the regions within New Zealand, like Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Dunedin, and further south?
I think there maybe used to have been.
Yeah.
But I think genuinely most roasters are pretty similar in terms of what they're offering, and their access to green beans is pretty evenly spread too. So in terms of roast profiles, I don't think there's much difference there either. From what I can see. Yeah, there's still some maybe because I'm in the game, I see it a bit more. And more involved, and maybe there are quite a few roasters here in the South Island that aren't doing what we're doing.
Cool. And you still get to rock in and random cafes, and do sales and stuff?
Yeah.
Nice one.
I try and not do that now. I try and like to sort of visit and organically create sort of
connections.
Connections that way, rather than doing that hard push. It's great when someone comes to us, which quite often happens. Then you really know that they want to work with you.
Exactly. There's that whole customer thing that I talk about here. You don't want a customer that's, and I'm certainly not a customer of, when I buy something, I'm buying it because I really want it, right? I've made a choice.
They've attracted you with something that they've done.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. That's real good. Yeah. That's the way you want it. Word of mouth is massively powerful.
But that takes time, you know. Small roasters have to start out somewhere, have to get customers to start to
really
create
carve,
that. And then you can get to a certain size where just through time and through brand presence, you've actually, you're out there, you're actually known And then naturally the customers should come to you if you're looking after your customers and more importantly looking after the quality of your coffee.
That's a good point. You've got to look after the customers you've got, because if you can't look after them, you can't accept more ones.
Yep.
The coffee game is freaking... I find it interesting. It's funny because when often businesses do make the switch, often it's because the business has been sold and there's a new operator come in and they have a favourite coffee blend and they just make the switch. There's nothing you can do in that situation to freaking convince them to stay, almost. Well, I never found I could.
No, it's
then,
pretty hard. And you generally don't really want them as a customer too if they haven't given you the time to meet with the current roaster.
And then the other thing I found when customers did change or a cafe changed, it wasn't because they were potentially moving something better, it was because the last company had pissed them off so much they just wanted to leave. They'd made X number of mistakes and they were just like, I've had a guts full.
Well, the Kiwi game has always been, let's throw them new machine, new grinder, fill this, go through a bit of coffee, and that's kind of
that only lasts so long
that we should have never gone down, and now we're kind of stuck in it. The UK don't do that. They are a roaster. They supply the coffee. They'll train them, but they don't need to do any of that aspect of it. So that's a big cost to the roaster, but it's so ingrained in that supply of coffee now here.
What can I get? What can I get? I want t-shirts, coffee machine and a grinder. What machinery do you provide? Like
anything from Lamasocco to Fama to Wega. Depends on the cafe, depends on the volumes, depends on the level of expertise of the staff too, whether they're going down to dosing, weighing all their doses, and, going down that whole process where that's how we like to make our drinks.
Once again, that's just all about eliminating variables, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Just making it consistent every single time. But that takes training, that takes time. People think it slows them down, but no, it's not. It's not going to slow you down. It's going to perfect. The output of the coffee. It's interesting. What grinders do you use at the moment? I've got a like a Mythos. We've got a couple of Mythoses, but Maz's generally where we've stayed with, and Mythos are great, Maz's are great, Malconic's really good. I guess those three would be your core ones that I see out there. Mazza for us, they're just hardy workhorses. That's right. And easy for us to service too. The Mythos, man, I had a bit of a mission with that. I had one from the first supplier that we used, the Sailor's Son. The reason why we switched was because they went under. Owing us money. Oh, really? I heard about that whole drama. So, anyway, and funnily enough, I said to Ed at the time, hey, I'm going to keep the grinder. You owe me money. I'm keeping the grinder. And I was like, this is your grinder, isn't it? And he was like, yes. Looked me dead in the eye. It's like, it wasn't his freaking, Silver Shed. It wasn't his grinder. So they came and repossessed that. And I was like, crap. So I purchased a Mythos. And that was my first kind of real experience setting one up. Because I hadn't really set the other one up. And then I got an opportunity to set this one up. And the alignment of the burrs, I went down that rabbit hole of aligning the burrs every weekend. And it was intense. But it has paid off. It has? It's paid off, and now I love it. And you could see, like, I don't know if you've seen that video online where you put the felt, like it's like a felt tip pen, you put it over the face of the burrs and then you gradually move them together. Oh, right. No. And then you in the video. And you can you can hear it. You can hear them coming together and touching, and that's when you stop, and then you pull apart the machine and you look at how they touch each other. If they touch each other on an angle, you'll just see one of the angle on one bit. So that means you're getting very fine grinds and you're getting very coarse grounds, and it's not consistent. So you're wanting it to come off consistently round in a perfect circle. So sorry, got a bit excited then. But man, It changed your life.
Yeah, it really did. And I was like, this is what it's about.
Your mornings were always better.
Yeah, this is what the mythos is all about. But the alignment of it, man, it drove me insane.
Yeah.
For a bit. And then I think what happened is the burrs then, over time, they kind of settled in. They kind of settled down. And because there was one point...
They do take time too.
Yeah.
So
there was one point where they were jamming. And I'd put it in and it just wouldn't start. It wouldn't grind. And I was like, it's a bean jam. But it wasn't a bean jam. It was actually the burrs were stuck contact. Yeah. So that's why I needed to align them, essentially. We messed around. We put in a new, what's it called?
Because you've only got the one there, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've got another couple of little grinders, like a Mazza for decaf and
decaf.
stuff. Yeah, just a little tiny one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd love to go Melkonig or whatever it's called. Yeah. They
They're that little bit more dearer, but they are quality and they will last.
Yeah.
Ditting are really good too. I think they're from the same group or company. I think they're German or something. And we use them for bag grinders and all types of stuff. And for bigger grinding, and they go and go and go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you do pay that bit extra. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Just like espresso machines, really.
Yeah. If I do switch out my grinder, it will be just purely because it'll be a new toy and it will just be me wanting to do it. It probably won't be a profitable move.
No, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. Man, but far out.
Coffee geeky.
Oh, but you'll know, I mean, there's nothing better than just having like an espresso that's just so fabulous that you're just like, whoa.
Yeah. No, you can't beat it. I've actually more and more, I've always drunk long blacks, but I'm just noticing I've sort of gone from the flat white and I'm working my way down now, and now I'm sort of loving a short black. Loving an espressos, there's nothing better, especially than a really a well-made one. First thing.
And that's
first coffee. That was great.
Yeah. We still clean our grinder out. We only clean it out once a week. Some people are like almost daily. It does make a difference.
Massive difference. Cleaning,
but it takes time. And not all establishments are probably really going to care too much. Especially if they don't own the grinder, they're going to be like, well, that's not my job.
I guess the one thing I see out there quite a bit is dirty hoppers.
Oh, mate,
that does my head in a bit. But,
these make great stories. One of my travelling around the place and checking up on different businesses and stuff. One time I found a 10-cent coin in the burrs, right down. It had travelled. It had somehow gotten to the hopper, gone through, and made it down the bottom. And it was all kind of a little bit chipped up.
Just
and
thinking
stuff.
how that got in there. That must have been the roaster. It wouldn't have been you pouring it in.
I was just visiting different cafes and stuff, and I would. Sometimes I'd clean the hopper, so I pulled apart this machine and I was taking out the beans to put the hopper back in, and it's like, what's this? It was like this 10-cent coin that's been bouncing around in there.
Good luck or bad luck?
That's putting your 10 cents worth in, isn't it?
10 cents worth in,
I'm assuming a staff member would have just somehow just dropped in there or something.
That could have been bad. Once
I know.
got there,
Well, it hadn't
got to those burrs. Crunch.
There was a few chunks out of it. It hadn't, for some reason, it hadn't got caught up. You'd think it would.
So what'd you do with the 10 cents, Dave?
I just put it in my pocket. Pretend as if it had never been there. No, I was just like, whoa, this is awesome.
Well, there's nothing worse if you're de-stoner and the roastery's not working or something, because it doesn't. We've had the stone
nails
that's gone through, and before
yeah.
you know, grinder's stuck, and we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You get all sorts in those beans.
And the other stories, I vividly remember being out on the road and visiting cafes and cleaning the baskets and popping the basket out and realising that it's just completely, it's almost sealed over with oil and stuff. And you're like, crap.
Yeah, there's
You're wondering
so
why
many nooks and crannies that
Yeah.
need to be cleaned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so-
And it affects the flavours.
Yeah.
Massively.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If people only, put a little bit more into it. But if you keep training, keep educating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy, here's our breakfast menu.
Fantastic.
Part of the deal, waking up so early, coming in. It's,
Scrambled.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yep, easy.
Easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
cool, man. So
I was just getting the poaching pan out, but I don't need it.
what have you got on for today?
Today we have a cupping.
Yeah.
So we're going to be cupping some coffees. Because we're looking at some Brazils, some Tanzanians, a Ugandan coffee as well.
Cool.
Because we're just looking at the price of Indonesian coffee is about to sort of skyrocket a bit.
Yep.
From what we've heard, so we're looking at a couple of other origins to supplement it a bit, if not replace it eventually. So
Yeah.
got some cupping on today.
How often does that sort of something that you do?
We do that at least twice a week.
Yeah.
So we'll cup on a Tuesday morning
Yeah.
as a team, and we'll cup on a Thursday. So we try and include everyone in it. So
Yeah.
we have so many mouths all tasting away and cupping
Yeah.
away and
Yeah.
slurping. And
was
it's
just- I was-
really important, really important.
I was just going to ask, what is the process of cupping for those who don't know?
So we grab a sample of any coffees that we've roasted. It may be a blend. It's generally singles
Yeah.
on their own. We'll then grind them up to a specific grind, a specific amount of coffee. We'll then put that in a glass. We'll then dry sniff it and smell it. Try and see what aromas we're picking up through our noses. Then we'll pour some water in it, certain temperature, certain amount of water. We'll let that steep for a bit. Then we'll break the crust of that with our spoons and again try and ascertain what smells we are getting, which could be anything from oranges to chocolate to obviously coffee. Then we'll scoop away that layer and let it rest for a certain amount of time, not too long, and then we'll taste it with a spoon. And you'll hear a lot of slurping, and that's getting air around the tongue and trying to pick up those flavours. And there is a lot more to it, but that's basically what we're doing.
Thanks, man.
We're
It's fascinating.
tasting the different coffees. Yeah, tea merchants do it too.
No, it's cool. I've done a couple, but not many. And the more that you do it, the more you actually develop your sense of smell and taste.
Yeah.
And
most of them we can smell it and we'll know what it is before we've tasted it. Even by looking at it, even by looking at the roast profile, even by looking at the size of the beans. You pick it up, you start to know. And things do change slightly too. We're always thinking there might be a better level of roast for that single origin, and we sometimes do tweak our profiles quite a bit. Because seasonally, obviously, our coffees are changing, but also the temperature in the roastery and from autumn to spring are very different.
Mate,
Summer
it's
to
delicate.
winter,
It's delicate.
very different. Especially in here in the kitchen.
oh yeah,
Temperature changes. Change a lot of things, and definitely in coffee, and in roasting and in aging of the coffee. So.
Yeah, totally. It's the whole roasting process. It's become a science. Well, it's all always probably had all that in there, but
it's more automated now.
We're starting to find some of those websites. Is it Barista Hustle and all those guys? Man, they break things down to fine little details of complexity.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, there's educational tools out there. Coffee educational tools. There's so many now.
Yeah.
I guess there's various points of views on how things should be done. But that's how industries evolve and people
That's
try
right.
out things, and that's
Yeah,
why
man.
that's why where we are at now. Is the reason we've had steps along that process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey,
Different waves.
yeah, you're right. Thanks for coming in, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being the first person to talk about coffee on our Espresso Bar podcast.
No worries. Yeah. It's gone quick.
Yep, it does. They do go
man.
quick once you start talking.
Flew by.
Yeah, it flies by.
Cheers, bro.
Cool.
Yep.